Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrakacharya Astata Sat Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada. So there will be 3 verses recited today. 2 of them have purports, the first and the third. And I will do the translations to begin with, go through all 3 translations, and then we'll come back to the middle verse, number 39, and we'll do the usual, the Sanskrit and the translations word by word. Okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the numbers of the verses which I will do is from the first canto, the 19th chapter, 38, 39, and 40. So this will be the English of number 38. Please, I should say, King Parikshit is speaking here, and he's speaking to Shukdeva Goswami, who has come to give him advice and guidance and direction in regard to the questions that he had. What is a person to do when he is about to die? Please let me know, Parikshit says, please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. And then we go to the next, number 39 translation. O powerful Brahman, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. And then we'll do the last verse, which is translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, remember, Sutta Goswami is narrating this entire Bhagavatam at Naimisharanya. And there's a whole host of sages and saints there. And he is repeating what he has heard from Shukdeva Goswami. So we should not get mixed up between the 2 Goswamis. This is a different area. And it's amazing that Sutta Goswami could listen to this entire discourse, which went on for 7 days and 7 nights, I believe. And he could remember every word of it and then repeat it to all the sages there. So we can just see the deterioration of our memories. Yeah, they did have, and Lord Chaitanya showed that this is not some fairy tale or some kind of myth. He himself did the same thing, and that not very long ago. So, translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage, using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, which is Shukdeva Goswami, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply. And then it ends with, thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Shukdeva Goswami. And this ends the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have finished canto number 1. So now we will come back to the part which I mentioned, which is going to be, that will be text number 39, and I will begin the Sanskrit. Is it up there? Is it up there? Yeah. Nunam Bhagavato Brahman Graheshu Graha Medinam Nalakshate Ya Vastanam Apigo Dohanam Kvachit Nunam bhagavato brahman griheshu grihamedinam nalakshyate hyavastanam apigo dohanam kvachit. Nunam bhagavato brahman griheshu grihamedinam nalakshyate hyavastanam apigo dohanam kvachit. Please chant. Nalakshyate hyavastanam apigo dohanam kvachit. Nam Akshate hyavastanam apigo dohanam kvachit. Bhagavato Brahman. Oh God. Ladies, please. Nunam Bhagavatam Brahman Veshu Grihamedinam Apigo Dohanam Kvachit. Nunam Bhagavatam Brahman Veshu Grihamedinam Nalakshyate Hyavastanam. Anyone else? No? All right, we'll do the synonyms then. Anyone on the men's side want? No? Nunam, because Bhagavataha, of you who are powerful. O Brahmana, Graheshu, in the houses, Grahamedinam, of the householders, Na, not, Lakshyate, are seen, He, exactly, Avastanam, staying in, Api, even, Go dohanam, milking the cow, Kvachit, rarely. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O powerful Brahman, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. Please, together. O powerful Brahman, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. Purport. Saints and sages in the renounced order of life go to the houses of the householders at the time they milk the cows early in the morning and ask some quantity of milk for subsistence. A pound of milk fresh from the milk bag of a cow is sufficient to feed an adult with all vitamin values, and therefore saints and sages live only on milk. Not all of them, but some of them. Even the poorest of the householders keep at least 10 cows, each delivering 12 to 20 quarts of milk, and therefore no one hesitates to spare a few pounds of milk for the mendicants. A mendicant is a beggar, or a mendicant is, in this case, a sadhu. It is the duty of householders to maintain the saints and sages, like the children. So, a saint like Shukdeva Goswami would hardly stay at the house of a householder for more than 5 minutes in the morning. In other words, such saints are rarely seen in the houses of householders, and Maharaj Pariksit therefore prayed to him to instruct him as soon as possible. He wanted to utilize every moment that was possible. The householders also should be intelligent enough to get some transcendental information from visiting sages. The householder should not foolishly ask a saint to deliver what is available in the market. That should be the reciprocal relation between the saints and the householders. In other words, the saint is coming for subsistence in the form of milk, and the householder should be receiving the saint for his spiritual subsistence, which can take 5 minutes or more depending upon the interest of the householder. Those householders who have no interest in spiritual life definitely will not be given more than 5 minutes. And those who have deep interest may be given a half hour or as long as it takes in order for them to be satisfied with the answer. Om Agyana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So, as it's mentioned here, this was a general practice of sannyasis. They would go in the morning and they would ask the farmer for some milk. And the farmer who had some spiritual knowledge, spiritual guidance, spiritual direction, would give the milk and do it gladly, because this is a way in which he could offer charity. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Krishna that sometimes householders can be very miserly. That's the word he uses. Miserly meaning not just greedy or holding back, but so absorbed, so attached, so confined to their work that they have no time, or they think they have no time, to listen to spiritual discourses from such great saintly persons. Questions like, what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? How can we achieve the true purpose of life? Who are we really? Are we the body? Are we the mind? Are we the intelligence? Are we the soul? Where is the soul? These questions need to be answered by the saints and the sages. And they are important because they set up a focal point for everyone, especially the householder, to work toward. When you know that you are not the body, you know that you're the soul, you know that the soul is covered with material, if you will, wastes, lust, anger, greed, envy, and those things, and that in order to actually become truly and greatly happy, one has to remove all of these qualities from the soul, so that the soul can manifest its natural glory, which is inner peace and inner strength and inner love and inner joy in the presence of the super soul, who is all of those things: peace and joy and love and strength and guidance and knowledge and omnipresence. So when we become cleansed, purified, the soul is no longer afflicted by these causing disease physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually. Qualities, the worst of which is to want to be a lord of all that one sees. wants to be a controller, wants to be a manager, wants to be a dictator. This is why we come into this world. In the spiritual world, Krishna gets all the adoration, the profit, the distinction, the applause, the glorification, the celebrity. And we get the opportunity to serve him, to honor him, to glorify him, to bow down to him. But we have independence. Every one of us, just as Krishna has independence, we have a little bit of independence. And if we exercise that independence properly, then what will happen is we will want to serve the Lord. In other words, I will decide, yes, Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishna Das. The constitutional position of the living entity is to be an eternal servant of the Lord. And if that is my constitutional position, what I'm supposed to do, then I will do it. But if I wish to use my independence in a false, perverted way, then I will not do that. I will think, well, maybe I can get the same adoration, the same profit, the same distinction, the same applause, the same affection and glorification from others and also be a Lord. What does it feel like to be a Lord? What does it taste like? For example, this is a curiosity. Even Lord Chaitanya, he had curiosity. What is Srimati Radharani? What is she feeling when she's loving me as Krishna? What does my sweetness feel like, taste like? So he had to come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in which he manifested the qualities of Srimati Radharani and felt her love, and actually then truly, personally, directly knew what she was experiencing. So similarly, the living entity also has some curiosity that what does it feel like to be a Lord? What does it feel like to be important? What does it feel like to be looked up to? What does it feel like to be applauded? What does it feel like for everyone to say, yay? So when that idea, this perverse idea, takes over, captivates the living entity, then he no longer wants to serve Krishna. When that unfortunate time comes, the living entity can he's no longer eligible or qualified to stay in the spiritual world because he wants to be a competitor of Krishna. And there's no room for competitors in Krishna. Although Krishna sometimes, when he's playing with the cowherd boys, he lets them defeat him. He makes them feel that they're better and bigger than him, but that's part of the rasa of playfulness amongst the children. But in reality, of course, when push comes to shove, we also see that when big demons like Bakasura come, or Trinarvata come, or some of these other demons come, Agasura, demons that the little cowherd boys definitely cannot handle. And Krishna then goes into his other mood of power play, and he deals with them and destroys them. The little cowherd boys are rather surprised because normally in their fun and their play and their games, Krishna loses. He has to carry his friends on his back, and they think he's one of them, he's equal. But when there's a threat to the cowherd boys' lives, Krishna stops playing little boy and becomes Supreme Lord and shows these demons as much power as they have nothing. Not only does he show that to demons, but he also shows that to some of the devotees, such as the demigods like Indra. Indra sometimes gets envious of little Krishna when he was 7 years old. And Krishna told his father and all his friends, stop this Indra Yagya, stop this. There's no need to worship demigods. You worship Govardhan Hill and you worship the Brahmins. Well, Indra, he heard this. He wanted him to stop worship of him, but he was very puffed up. He was very arrogant. And he felt, how dare this little 7-year-old boy tell everybody in the community to stop worshiping me? I'm head of the demigods. I make the rain. Where is their appreciation? Where is their gratitude? I've got to show them where they're at. Well, he tried and he failed because he's only a demigod and Krishna is the supreme God, supreme personality of Godhead. And when he saw that, actually Indra, but those of you who may not know that story or know it only briefly, what happened was that out of vengeance, Indra caused these Samvartaka clouds to come into activity. These are the clouds that are used when the destruction of the world is needed to take place. And they pour down lots and lots of rain, lots of ice, lots of hail. It's horrendous. And that's what he did. And he thought he could drown and kill not just Krishna, but all the residents of Vrindavan. And so it came down, and the water was rising and rising. So Krishna just did his little miracle. He made all the water that was rising, he vanished it. In other words, he evaporated it very quickly. And then he told all the residents from Vrindavan, please, you follow me. And they followed him to Govardhan Hill. And he lifted up Govardhan Hill on one side, and he balanced it on his little left pinky. Of course, Mother Yashoda and Nanda, they were very shaky, that was their little son. How long could he hold that mountain? He's only 7. No, it's going to fall down. So she said, Nanda, please put your stick, the cow stick, or the guarding stick, put it under the hill so that it doesn't fall down on Krishna. Yeah, the stick is going to do a lot of good. So anyway, he did that, and some of the other cowherd men, they're doing that, and after about 10 minutes, they couldn't hold the stick anymore. So they just slowly inched away from it. Is Krishna going to get crushed? And no, he didn't get crushed. Krishna just stood up there, very joyful, very friendly, very loving. He says, don't worry about anything. This rain will not have you get underneath this umbrella that I'm creating for you, and you just enjoy. So that went on for how many days? 7 days, 7 days and 7 nights. So it was going on, and I didn't hear that anybody ever got hungry. That was another little miracle that Krishna did. Everybody felt satisfied. Everybody was fulfilled. I mean, you couldn't go out and get some grains or go out and get some oranges or mangoes because you were stuck under there, and the rain and the hail is just coming down. So everybody felt full. Krishna, he did that at another time too. He made people feel full so they don't have to eat. Of course, it doesn't do very good for commerce in the economic situation. If you were to do that, nobody goes to any of the stores, and then what happens? Well, everybody feels full. No, you don't have to eat anymore. But eating is not just eating for satisfaction and for sustenance. Eating is also for pleasure too. Some of the cooks that we have here, I'm grateful to be here just to get their prasadam. That may sound like a very self-centered, selfish purpose, but that's not just plain food. This is food made by devotees with love and devotion, and that food is being offered to the Supreme Lord, and the Lord is tasting it and enjoying it and completely relishing it. Well, why shouldn't I want that? Of course I want that, because that will help me also in my own spiritual advancement and development. It's not just food, you see. As we have been taught since we're young, you just eat and that's it. But no, we don't eat, we relish, we honor it. What does it mean to honor food? Food which has been tasted by the Supreme Lord. Honor it means that we show that this is so wonderful, so glorious, so great, and we are the beneficiaries of this great food which is being given to us from the Supreme Lord. And devotees, I know myself, I have to be more conscious of the fact that this is a grace. I don't deserve it. He doesn't have to give me that. He could give me just plain food. And that may nourish the body, but it will not nourish the soul. It is his taste, it is his touch, it is his love which goes into that food, which we then take and then we relish it. You know, I thought that as I would get older, I would lose my taste, my senses would become diminished with respect to taste. Well, let me give you a little clue. I'm 87 years old. 87. And I don't know what Krishna's doing to me. I expected to be detached from all this, but rather food is tasting better. It's greater. I'm serious. The slightest thing, a little granola, I don't even put anything. I just take it in my hand. Wow, this is incredible. What are you doing, Krishna? So be prepared, not for the worst, but for the best. It's a fact. So especially, we have some cooks here who are just first class. I mean, our Krishna Gauranga with his upma, and what is the other thing? The khichdi. Nobody can beat his khichdi. He's the world champion. And whenever I see him, I glorify him. Because he actually partly makes my day. Yeah, food does make my day partly. There's other things too, of course. So anyway, what I'm trying to bring out is that devotional service, I don't even know how I got into this, but I wandered along someplace and I got into prasadam, which is my favorite favorite subject matter. Why not? Not only is it my favorite subject matter, but I actually have a lot of fun, a lot of joy, as you know, serving out the prasadam, because I know how delightful, how delicious, how wonderful it is. And all these devotees, I'm playing a part, an instrument, that they're going to get this prasadam. And I then get the pleasure of watching them eating it. Yeah, that is devotional service also. It's really. And so that's why you see me generally when I'm not laid out, strung out due to staying up 2 o'clock in the morning. But if I'm out there, and I got up, I love to serve the prasadam to the devotees, and it gives me a chance to interact with them and also give them as much as they like or more than what they want, or set up some degree of relationship with them. And let's face it, that's what makes this movement so wonderful, is that we have relationships with each other through our devotional service. And we should not resist this. We should not be reluctant to it. We should not be a standoff. We should rather welcome it, because it really makes up, sometimes we're not in the material world anymore, but we're in the spiritual world here. So they have relationships too. And the relationship is always one of appreciation, gratification, glorification, honoring. People sing, especially to Krishna, when Krishna honors something, and the gopis immediately they start singing the glories of Krishna. How great, how wonderful, how amazing, how awesome he is. You've heard that word, awesome, awesome, awesome. And that's what they feel about Krishna. He makes everything amazing and wonderful and delicious and delightful. So, how did I get into this? What was, come on, Archie, you follow every paragraph. What is that? Oh, yes, thank you so much. This is my, if I were ever in a play and I needed a reader there to help me find my place, Archie's the person to do it, and he does it so well, because he's always attentive to every word. So, could you repeat the last part that you just said? What you said? The point you were making was that Krishna doesn't only kill the demons, he also kills the pride in the Lord. He spoke about Indra and yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so the point is this, is that Krishna, he plays with the devotees, he acts like a devotee, he loses battles to his friends, and then his friends find out finally. But the interesting thing about this is that if his friends know, that he defeats Bakasura, he defeats Agasura and all of these, well, what is happening to the rasa? That the rasa means that they're all little boys, and Krishna is also a little boy, and he's as weak as them. Not only he's weaker, and they defeat him in battle. Well, Krishna makes them forget it. That's another one of his little powers. He makes Mother Yashoda forget that when she opened, she opened her mouth, and the whole cosmos was there, and she was wondering, is this coming? So she forgot that, and she just became a mother, and she saw a helpless little boy who needs her protection, and if she doesn't get her protection, something terrible is going to happen to him. This is her protective, motherly stance. So, therefore, the point that I'm making here is that Krishna is all loving, all kind, all capable, and ready to give us what we need and even what we want, if what we want is exactly what he also wants for us. So this is a very important thing for us to have complete faith. And look at the deities, how beautiful they are. I don't know who did that, but it's just enough to knock my socks off if I had socks on. But I don't have them on. It's beautiful, incredible. You could just stand here all day and just keep. There's so much there, and that those devotees who have that talent, that ability, and I give full praise and full honor and glorification for those devotees who especially dress the deities today, also in the sannyas color, which makes me feel even better. So it really is stupendous, superb, and incredibly glorious. Thank you very much. And I'm sure everybody here feels the same way, although we may not be shouting it out, but I felt on behalf of everyone here, as well as myself, that yes, all of you persons who are dressing the deities, who are cleaning the altar, who are putting on the adornments, the jewelry, putting on the crowns of Jagannath, Baladev. I mean, you're all doing incredibly wonderful work, and I'm sure you're increasing the pleasure. Krishna is always blissful. We all know that. But bliss is not this or this. It's ever increasing. It's ever rising. And it's ever rising in accordance with the purity of the devotee's love in his service to Krishna. And that's mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita when he says to Srimati Radharani, there is no one who gives me so much pleasure as you, Srimati Radharani, because your love is so pure, so potent, so strong, so incredible that I can never repay you for this love that you're giving to me, or any of the other gopis, but Radharani is special. So how does he repay them? He can't repay them. He says there's no way I can repay them, but he does. How does he repay them? With himself. He gives them, he rewards everyone according to his merits or his offerings. So he gives himself. Well, what does that mean that he gives himself? He gives his peacefulness. He gives his love. He gives his kindness. He gives his sweetness. He gives his strength. He gives us gives us new realizations of who we are, what the universe is. He gives us the means by which we can avoid those things, as King Parikshit says, what should I avoid? Avoid the things which will harm us and take us away from Krishna. And it gives us the strength and the discretion and the discrimination to know what we should do to be able to become more close to Krishna, more loving to Krishna, and more appreciated by Krishna as a result of our affection and dedication and attraction and attention to Krishna. So Krishna is there, and he keeps giving us and giving us and giving us. Sometimes, generally it's done invisibly, but those devotees who are advanced, it may be invisible to the eyes and the ears, but they can feel the joyfulness rising. Sometimes the hairs go up on the legs or the arms, on the head. Sometimes one feels perspiration coming as a result, and this is all coming from Krishna. Or one may start to tremble, and this is not some disease, Parkinson's. It's real ecstasy, like this, because it stops. Parkinson's keeps going unless you're getting rid of the disease. And also the tears may come flowing down from the eyes. Those devotees who are extremely advanced, even here, they don't like to show those tears because they don't want to be glorified. They want all the glory to go to Krishna. But sometimes it's impossible. like Srila Prabhupada would be sitting on the Vyasasan, and he would be talking about his Guru Maharaj, or he would be talking about Prahlad Maharaj, or he would be talking about Bali Maharaj, or one of the great saints and sages, and then tears would start pouring down his face. And it wasn't a show, it was just spontaneous and uncontrollable. That's the way pure, loving, devotional service is. It just comes, okay? And that's because he was so advanced. His appreciation level is so much higher than all of ours. And that's why by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, as Srila Prabhupada says in the 8 prayers that we say in the morning, by the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master at least 3 times a day. Let me offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of our spiritual master. And I was planning to do a whole thing on Christmas, but I'm sorry, you'll have to wait till tomorrow. Really, on real giving and false giving. Maybe somebody else can give that class. Because it's become kind of like a robotic exercise where people go and they buy things and give them to the... anyway, there's a whole thing of obligation. It's not done out of love anymore. And I will just say one last thing. Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, do it for me. Don't do it for yourself. Don't do it to be glorified. Don't do it to be thanked. Don't do it to be applauded. That's... Krishna says you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your action. Well, who is the cause? Krishna is the cause. So let us give glory to him. When we hear him glorified, we should be ready to jump up and down, applaud, and be extremely happy. When we see a devotee also honored and glorified because he's doing something which is truly and deeply Krishna conscious, we should join in with that and overcome or destroy our own envy. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, thank you. Any questions? No questions? Okay. What? Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good for my ego. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, encouraging, and I wish you not only that, but much more. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hey, Mataji, welcome back. God, I wish I'd have a seat for you. I feel awkward, you standing. You're an older devotee than I am. How are you feeling? Good to hear. You were in Hawaii, right?